Alright guys, we're almost at month 3 here. I figured I'd film this just a little bit early. Next weekend will be November 1st, so not sure if I'm going to have time then. So a couple things last month, continuing the Evita grammar deck, cut it down from 15 to 10 new sentences per day, and I did the first 3 chapters. I have a feeling I have a pretty good handle on basic grammar. So lately, I've just been adding a combination of cards. So I'm using the frequency list, the book that I mentioned that I really love in the prior video, the Frequency Dictionary of Korean. So I'm using a combination of that, as well as kind of a 5th or 6th grade level book I picked up at the local Korean store, which don't have audio, and also words that I'm hearing more than a couple of times in my immersion. So I'm either using sentences from the Naver Dictionary, from the Subs SRS deck that I downloaded, and I've only been able to find one that's available on the internet. Eventually I'll probably make my own, but so it's been a kind of a combination. I've tried to keep only the words from the first 1500, but you know, you're going to come across words in the first 5000 quite frequently, even early on. So I've been using the 3-month MIA retiring interval, and I'm just going to bump that up to 4.5 months for the next few months as well. So main thing, I did add the top 1000 traditional Hanzi, so the Chinese characters, and the mass immersion approach was very kind to provide this deck, and I think it should be 90 or 95% similar with Korean Hanja, which I haven't been able to find a resource like this, so I'm just using the Chinese characters. Probably a waste of time if you really want to progress in Korean this early, only because exclusively you can get by and be quite fluent without knowing a single character. But the reason I'm doing this is eventually there are lots of root words, and I would say the intermediate words, so anywhere from the 2,500 to the 10,000 word list, has a lot of Chinese derived words, and each character, so they're kind of like Japanese with the 2-character words, each character has its own meaning and has its own sound in Korean. So this will enable me, so this is almost like the turtle and the hare, so this is more the turtle method, where if you learn those Chinese characters, eventually when you start reading, you'll be able to pick up more words as you go. And I've been putting, and I've been learning 10 new characters a day, which in 3 months I should be able to learn 1,000. Roughly 70% of them are the same as Japanese, so this is quite low effort. Although I'll say that I've had like 30 reviews a day, and today they just bumped up to 70 with 10 new cards a day. So given that it's a recognition deck, it's taking roughly 30 minutes for my sentence deck per day, and it's probably going to be 10, 15, or 20 minutes, maybe even higher eventually, for the kanji, the traditional Hanzi deck that I'm doing. So watching a couple dramas that I found, I'll link those. There's the one that's very similar to Terrace House, which is the Heart Signal, and there's also a couple of Netflix ones that are pretty good. I've gotten lots of recommendations. Still, the comprehension is quite low, less than 10%. Although I've heard the popular channel Motivate Korean, who says drama comprehension, he's a 10-year, 15-year quite fluent speaker, and he says he even needs Korean subtitles to understand dramas because of the very unnatural conversation. So this is why I'm actually I'm continuing to do repetitive listening, so 3 to 20-minute clips, and I'm getting these from the Talk to Me in Korean's Iyagi podcast, as well as occasionally from the Motivate Korean. They have about 10 5 to 7 minute loops that are, I would say, a little more advanced. The conversations between the guy and girl on the Talk to Me in Korean, some of it I'm up to the 20 or 30% comprehension. Hard to gauge, but I think I'm understanding more and more every week, so that's really encouraging. The monolingual transition, I don't have a huge urge to do it, and it sounds like most people that study intensively, even in Korea, they're at least at the 2 or 3 year mark before they do this. I'm gonna go ahead and probably postpone this to the 6-month mark because this kanji, these characters, probably most people would learn this the beginning of their 3rd year studying Korean, but I just want to get out of the way while the Japanese ones are fresh in my head, and hopefully once there's no more new cards, that deck will dwindle down. So that's about it. So 3-month follow-up video. I'm gonna continue to add sentences and try to go for 10 new sentences per day. Grammar is quite easy. I think Matt versus Japan and Brit versus Japan talk about grammar just being simple words, simply just words that you learn, and I would highly agree with this. Listening is key. It's funny because all the Korean manga at the store is all sealed, so you can't see what it is. The book, I do have one book that I started to pull out sentences from because I just finished with grammar, and there's no audio, so sometimes there's a Evita vocabulary deck. It's 6,000 words with just single words, and it has audio for that single word that you're learning. So I might put a full sentence from wherever I find it, and when the card comes up, it'll just play that word. So I think that's quite useful. So still kind of open to suggestions, and just under 3 months, quite happy with how things are. It's remarkable because even people that come to Korea specifically to teach English and learn Korean, and that's all they do, they're still if they speak fluently in terms of they can say whatever they want, by the 2 or 2.5 year mark, they're doing very well. And they're actually, like, I would say they're living more their Korean lifestyle, because that's really what they came here to do. I mean, I'm working full-time at the hospital. It's not been busy really at all, so I could be a little more efficient. There's kind of been traveling around, and let me just recommend Taiwan. Took a 4-day trip there, and if anyone's not been there, some of the nicest people, very warm and open people you'll ever meet. Similar to the Japanese, except I would say even more genuinely warm, and really a great place. So definitely look forward to some more trips there. All right, well, I'm just doing a short little hike here, about an hour south of Seoul, very small mountain, so just kind of halfway up. And hope everyone's having a great weekend. And just got off a 48-hour water-only fast. Gonna break that in a few minutes, and I would highly recommend you guys try fasting, because I mean, there's tons of physiologic longevity benefits, but outside, not even gonna discuss that. But just if you can fast for 3 or 4 days, and you know you can do it, any hard things that come up in your life, you're not even gonna worry about them at all, because you know. I think meditation would be similar, although I have more experience with fasting than meditation, where you kind of have a very appreciation for don't sweat the big things and the mental challenge. Like, yeah, you could do this, and then like the small things in life really don't matter anymore. So, all right, taking off, and further updates to come. See you guys.